Okay, this is the little guys that we just got this year. Their first day out in the big pen we always put our baby chicks in. And one of these years I'm going to put clover in here in the spring like I ought to, or the fall, so they got plenty of clover. But the big chickens spend the winter in here also, just playing around. And they are right beside each other. As you can see, we have chickens right on the other side of the fence. And people always ask a question about, how to mix the birds when they, when you've raised a new batch like this. And our answer is you open the gate. This system has worked pretty well for us for several years. I had to chase all the big chickens out of here this morning, just about an hour ago. And one batch is over there pecking at whatever they've got to munch on, and haven't figured out that there's a big feeder up in there. And these guys are the biggest batch. They're the biggest birds. They're the first ones that came out, and they are getting quite large. It won't be long before they'll be ready to eat. And the little black ones are a black sex link. They're going to be our next year's layers. And as you'll see, most of my chickens are one variation on a red type. Either they're the red sex link layers, or they are Rhode Island Reds. And so this is our first year with the black sex links. We've been very happy with the red sex links, and we always can tell which birds are which birds are what year, and we start culling on their second and third year. And you can always tell the young birds that are doing well. So that's been our modus operandi for a number of years now. And like I said, I have no trouble whatsoever when it comes time to just open the gate and let the babies out. Given the fact that we've got meat birds in here, we probably will kill the meat birds before we ever do that. Meat birds are very different in many respects. They do love to eat, and they'll spend the whole day doing just that. Even when we open them up and let them out, a lot of times they'll just sit in there by the feeder and never move. So anyway, we're letting them out on the ground. We've had one bird out of all of these die, and it was one of the big. It was a medium-sized meat bird. Kind of wasn't the biggest, but it wasn't. But it was in the biggest batch. And we just went in there and it was dead. So I don't know whether it was a second or third night. May have been the first night or the second night. Anyway, it was somewhere in that neighborhood. That's been the only one we've lost, and that's kind of typical with the white birds, with the meat birds. We almost always lose one or two, and really annoys you when they're getting big enough and you're like, I'm gonna kill that one tomorrow. I'm gonna kill that bunch tomorrow, and you come out there and one of them's done laid down dead. But we have very little problem with that. Like I said, we lose one or two, and that's pretty much it. They're doing a lot of playing and flying in there. Some of them found the food. They're kind of playing and flying. So the meat birds will never fly. I've seen some that could almost get off the ground. Some of the more energetic ones that weren't quite as fat. So anyway, just a short video on the chicks that we purchased and we've shown a video on. And we'll probably do at least a couple of more videos as we run through and get these guys ready to process. So all right, if you enjoy this sort of thing, I'd ask you to subscribe. And thanks for watching our channel. Bye.